Back with the Boxing Clinic and more. Told you guys we was gonna do the live Q&A for all the fights this weekend. First off, I think about 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the States, it's gonna be Eubanks Jr. taking on Super WBA Super Middleweight Champion in the semifinals of the World Boxing Super Series tournament. George Groves. Also got Premier Boxing Champions on Fox, where Porky Medina, Caleb Plant. Then the headliner is going to be Devon Alexander taking on Victor Ortiz. That's going to be on regular Fox. That's going to be the preliminary bout card. And then the main event got the main card is on Showtime. Co-feature is a rematch. WBC champion David Benavidez taking on Ronald the Thrill Garcia out of Mayweather Boxing Gym and by way of Romania. And then the main event is obviously Brandon Rios taking on Danny Garcia. Got any questions about the card? Chime in anytime. See your questions, I'll go in order and answer them. But first you got Eubanks Jr. and Groves kicking off in the afternoon. I think that's gonna be. I picked that to be the best fight. What's going on, Quan? 43. I picked Eubanks Jr. and George Groves to be the best fight of the first quarter. That's any fight in January, February, March. A lot of people like the Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz fight. I just think Chris Eubanks Jr. and George Groves, is real bad blood there. It's real history there. They sparred a long time ago. I take sparring for a grain of salt. And it was a good, press conference today. They talked a little bit of junk. Senior wasn't up there with Eubanks Jr. And he was up there with his other trainer. And him and Groves went back and forth. It was tasteful. It was respectful. Groves seemed a little bit antsy. Eubanks Jr. seemed a little bit more sure of himself. But when you have a very confident fighter, I'm gonna tell you this: when you got a fighter that's very confident in his abilities and don't think he can lose, there's no way that he thinks Groves can beat him. Once you create some doubt, once you kind of, you ever seen a rock hit a windshield and you got that crack, and then over time that crack just turns into a big ass, crack on the windshield. That's kind of what happens when you create doubt in a guy that's just so confident. And when you create that doubt, when you create that doubt, then you create some questions in his head, and then that crack can just, become shattered glass. So, Eubanks Jr. is a good fighter, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Billy Joe Saunders beat Eubanks Jr." Well, Eubanks Jr. isn't Billy Joe. Groves isn't Billy Joe Saunders, and Eubanks Jr. got a lot better. But Groves can do some things that Billy Joe Saunders can do. As far as defensively, George Groves ain't, on Billy Joe Saunders level amongst being slick and stuff of that nature. But he's a good counterpuncher. He just fights so much on the back foot, that if he ever was to come forward and Groves to get aggressive, I think he would score a lot more knockouts in his career. He just looks to counter. And think about when Groves counterpunch, he don't really move his head, on a regular basis. He's lacking in the defensive department, and he's also lacking and being aggressive. And I think if he was able to keep the fight in the middle of the ring, kind of press more, that right hand is one of the hardest punches, in the super middleweight division. What's going on, Angel Santos? Tampa in the building. Yeah, South Florida. It's like right between South and Central Florida. Tampa's a great city. I've been there a few times. Love Tampa, Florida. You got any questions? I'll give you an answer on any of the fights this weekend. We'll keep going on Eubanks and Groves. And over there it's a big domestic class in the UK, and it's kind of seen as like the finals of the World Boxing Super Series tournament. Groves asked for Eubanks Jr. to be in this, be a second round matchup. A lot of people are high on Callum Smith. I picked Callum Smith to win the tournament, but I don't know. The guy he's fighting is a former light heavyweight, Yerman Berman, and yes, Callum Smith is a brother of Lima Smith, who fought Canelo Alvarez. But Groves and Eubanks, man, that's gonna be a hell of a fight. Somebody feeling's gonna get hurt. It seemed like George Groves got over the hump. He said that Fedor Chuvinov was better than Eubanks Jr. That's to be seen. Fedor Chuvinov, he got knocked out of 6 rounds. I watched that fight the other day. He took a lot of beating. He didn't move his head. He just kept forward and kept coming with the high guard, and he was just trying to wait for George Groves to gas out, and it didn't happen. Groves, he didn't make it to the second half of the fight. Groves' right hand was just beating him down, and he tried to be a tough guy. He got to learn to move his head and do something different. But Eubanks will move his head. This is going to be a hell of a fight, man. It's going to be one of those fights where whoever wants it the most. Like Eubanks Jr. said today, whoever wants that fight the most is going to win that fight. You know, if Grove is in top shape, you know, and you could tell me he can go strong 12 rounds, then it may change my point of view on the fight. I picked Eubanks Jr. by like 11th round knockout. I just think he just gonna turn up on George Groves, turn the stamina up. I think Eubanks Jr. won the match. See who you think he has the power to get. It ain't you know, good question. He you know, Angel Santos asked me, does Chris Eubanks Jr. have the power to KO George Groves? I think he does, but I think if he's gonna KO George Groves, it's gonna be by work rate. He's just gonna outwork him, and we know George Groves. You know, he fades. He's a front runner. He fades in the second half fight. Even in a Jamie Cox fight, he was getting tired. You know, but the thing about George Groves is he can take your ear out of your tires and make you tired as well. He's a good body puncher. I think he's one of the better body punchers I assessed on tape so far in the last couple years. And you know, he's diligent going to the body. He knows to go to the body. But the thing about him is he's gonna try to walk. He's gonna try to walk Chris Eubanks Jr. into some shots. But if you told me about 3 fights ago, that you know, George Groves might counter Eubanks Jr. and walk him into shots, I would agree. But Eubanks Jr. is becoming way more patient in his attack. You know, he's starting to pick his shots. He's starting to, you know, calm down a little bit. But Groves does have the power to KO Eubanks Jr. Eubanks Jr. has the power to KO Groves, in my opinion. The thing about Eubanks Jr. power is predicated on the velocity of the punch, his speed of punches, his combination punches. So if you tell me about combination punching, he can KO Groves. But early in the fight, I don't expect Eubanks Jr. to KO Groves. I don't expect. I think it's going to be by accumulation and Groves getting tired, in my opinion. He can KO Groves with combination. He has great hands. Exactly what I just said. Shout out to Roy. And accuracy. Yeah, he does have accuracy with his combo punch, especially now he's starting to calm down. Eubanks Jr. needs to win this fight to prove he's legit at 68. I definitely agree to Terrell. I definitely agree with that. You know, not only I'm gonna take it a step further. When Terrell says Eubanks Jr. needs to prove that he's legit at 168 with this fight, I think Chris Eubanks Jr. is going to prove in this fight, if he wins the fight, that he's not a gimmick. You heard George Groves call him a gimmick. Jesse Hart, out of all people, call him a gimmick. People really think, you know, from the outside looking in, that, you know, that hasn't really watched Chris Eubanks Jr. of late, thinks he's legit a gimmick. You know, they really do think he a gimmick. I used to think he was a gimmick until I legitimately sat down and watched him, and he definitely has the skills to pay the bills, in my opinion. You know, yeah, Connecticut. What's so special about George Groves? I don't get the hype. What up, Quan? I'm gonna get to your video tomorrow. I didn't have no time today to get to the blast from the past, so I'm gonna do blast from the past tomorrow. It's gonna be double blast from the past, where we go back, rescore a fight that was controversial, close, and then we talk about the fights that he want to score. But Groves is I like Groves. He's one of I think he had a chance to be one of the pound for pound most skilled fighters in the world. A lot of people laugh, but he has a special right hand. He has special boxing ability. He got good speed. He got good power. He got good understanding. He got good accuracy. He's an excellent body puncher. Probably one of the top 10 best body punchers in boxing. He don't get that credit. He's special. He is very special. You know, he's not your typical UK guy that's all offense, and you know, he just don't. I mean, he can do different things in the ring. He's a counter puncher, and you don't see too many counter punching guys from the UK. Most of them are offensive and fighting on the front foot. George Groves is kind of reverse. He tries to get an American style, but he don't have the defense to go with the counter puncher. But his right hand is something to marvel at. You know, right hook, straight right, uppercut, right hand to the body. His right hand could put probably any super middleweight out, you know, today, in my opinion. He's a special fighter. He don't have the stamina, in my opinion. Eubanks Jr. has huge kinetic energy, blows, stuns, and shits out of you. Yeah. You know, he got a lot of velocity on his punches, man. You know, and Groves would be an excellent body on his resume, in my opinion. I think George Groves would be, you know, Carl Frost swears that Groves is going to beat Eubanks Jr. is going to beat Groves, but he sparred with Eubanks Jr. You know, Groves going to have to take Eubanks Jr. somewhere he hasn't been before. He going to have to create some doubt in his head like Billy Joe Saunders did. And a lot of people, if you try to compare that Billy Joe Saunders to Groves, Billy Joe Saunders is way slicker. And the thing about it is, George Groves, he's just not the magician, you know, that Billy Joe Saunders is with counterpunching. You know, Billy Joe Saunders is slick as sweat on Shaq's forehead. I'm gonna watch this fight this weekend. I only watched the Froch fight. That's why I'm curious. Yeah, Groves actually beat James DeGale. That was a very close fight. And you know, it was hype before on George Groves before he came in versus Carl Froch. He did validate that hype in the first fight. He got robbed with the fake knockout. Second fight, you know, Carl Froch was ready for him. So he's a good fighter. You know, I definitely. And we can move on to. I guess I'll do short. I'll do short on this one. Caleb Plant versus Porky Medina. I didn't do a breakdown video for this. You know, I assume in the future we're gonna break down a lot of Caleb Plant. You know, fights. But Caleb Plant is a guy, I think he's from Cashville, Tennessee, or something from Tennessee. He's a very interesting fighter. He's very slick. He's a boxer. He got 16-0, 10 knockouts. He moved up from Froch is definitely a Hall of Famer. He moved up from middleweight to super middleweight to get some fights. He put himself in position to kind of face David Benavidez, or he's gonna be the mandatory to Caleb Truex as well. But if Benavidez win, but the thing about Caleb Plant is this, you know, nobody wants to fight him. And speaking of George Groves, he said he outboxed George Groves like 20 or 20 rounds. He said when he sparred George Groves, he didn't drop a round. I think it was like 20 or 30 rounds. He never dropped a round versus George Groves. And it sounded like he was telling the truth. You know, he said, you know, George Groves couldn't touch him. And that's the type of fighter he is. He's a defensive first fighter that's very slick. And Porky Medina is his test. And obviously, David Benavidez hit Porky Medina with a 28-piece combination in 20 seconds and stopped him. And Porky Medina did knock out Jalen Love. So this is going to be a good test for Caleb Plant. But for Caleb Plant, Porky Medina plays into his hands. Porky Medina likes to come forward. He's a good puncher. Caleb Plant, you know, is going to counter him, be slick all night, and outbox him. I think he's gonna stop, you know, Porky in like the 10th round. I don't know how long the fight is going, right? Like 10th or 9th round if it's going 10. Or if it's going 12. I'm just pick him and stop him late. Then he got Victor Ortiz versus Devon Alexander. Don't forget, y'all can, you know, chime in with a question if y'all want. I would love to see Caleb Plant versus Billy Joe Saunders if Billy Joe Saunders move up. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders is definitely a big middleweight, and I don't think people know how big Billy Joe Saunders is. He wants to move up to middleweight and do his thing. But obviously he wants to retire pretty soon. And he's banking on Golovkin beating Canelo. So, you know, if that happens, then K2 said they want to make Golovkin and Billy Joe Saunders. I think if Billy Joe Saunders beat Golovkin, get all the belts, I think he'd go up to super middleweight and challenge one of the guys from the UK. And be a 2-time champion, then he gonna retire. But yeah, that'd be a good fight. I don't know who I pick at that point. Ortiz beats Alexander. I'm getting into it right now. I'm gonna get to the Caleb Plant question first. Plant needs to develop a killer instinct to compete with Ramirez. I don't think he needs to develop a killer instinct to compete with Ramirez and Benavidez. I don't think so. I say that from this standpoint. Now both of those guys were like proven, like concrete. The top 168, like 168 is like wet concrete. I don't know who's the best. But both of them play into his hands. You know, Ramirez is gonna walk in all night. Benavidez is gonna walk in all night. He's only 20. He hasn't developed, you know, he's still developing his jab and his defense and moving backwards. I think both of them play into Caleb Plant hands. I think you know, they walk to him all night and Caleb Plant was be able to counter him. Now like Quan is right. He's gonna come to a point where he's gonna have to press forward. You know, press forward and get some respect and come forward and make those guys move backwards, you know, and potentially he might have to knock him out if he got the opportunity. So yeah, I agree. He's gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive. But when you box like him, I mean, pretty much you ain't got to change nothing, you know. But at one point he got to be a killer. Ortiz beats Devon Alexander all day. GOAT 619 from San Diego, huh? But nah. I don't think Ortiz beats that. Ortiz is done. You know, Ortiz, like I said in the prediction video, the body looks good. You know, physically he looks good. He still got his movement, his high guard. He's not as aggressive like he once was. You know, he's not that aggressive. But the thing about Victor Ortiz, he can't take a punch no more. He can't take a punch. It's not even just get to the mental part of the thing where if you, you know, put something on him, hit him with, you know, give him some resistance. You know, it's not even just that, you know, in my opinion. It's the fact that Ortiz just can't take it on the chin no more. Simple as that. And Devon Alexander, you know, he dropped Walter Castillo. You know, and Devon Alexander looked fast. He looked strong. He looked quick. And I think he punches good enough to get the knockout. You know, he probably ain't the puncher Berto was. But I think he is a very comparable puncher to a guy like Josito Lopez. I know Lopez might be a little bit better puncher. Castillo might be a little bit better puncher. But I think he's a good enough puncher to knock out Ortiz. I just don't see Ortiz, you know, being able to take punishment on the jaw. Ortiz might be aggressive, but you remember Devon Alexander only been knocked down one time in his career by Lucas Matisse. He never been stopped or dropped other than that in the amateur, so he's a very rough guy. What's this going to be about him? You know, and obviously he got rid of the grunting. I'm happy because I was tired of hearing him punch every time he grunt. I got tired of hearing that, but, you know, if Ortiz going to come, he got to come aggressive like Sean and like Timothy Bradley came. But guess what? When you be aggressive, you got to eat a lot of punches. You know, you got to eat a lot of the punches when you come be an aggressive fighter. And for him, he ain't going to eat too many of Devon punches. You know, Devon ain't a feather-fisted guy. He's a solid puncher. And I think he got enough power to knock out Ortiz. And I think he knocks out Ortiz in the middle. Yeah, Ortiz just can't take the... he don't have no punch threshold no more. He can't take the punishment. Plan is okay. I saw him fight in person. You know, personally, I don't see what people see. He's okay, but he needs a lot of work. I don't think so. Plant is a good boxer. I mean, how many people have that natural boxing ability to be slick and picking shots like that? I think once somebody forced Caleb Plant to do something different, I think he has it in the bag to do something different. He brings different dimensions to the game, and if you able to knock your hit, you can go a long way. Especially with the 10 knockouts, showing he got enough power to put guys out. He can go a long way in the sport. You know, a lot of people don't get it. You know, they don't see it. And sometimes I don't see it in certain fighters. You know, I didn't see it in Julian J. Rock, even though I was right with that, Williams. You know, I didn't see it in, I don't know who else. I know there's a few of the guys I didn't see it in. You know, I can't remember the game. But some guys you see it, and sometimes it is what it is. Saunders was a welterweight in the Olympics, fought 25, 26 fights as a middleweight. When Saunders has fought once at 175. He has fought once in KO lawyer. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about him fighting at light heavyweight, but I know he was a big middleweight. I know he's a gypsy, and somebody schooled me a little bit about the gypsy lifestyle and how they bare knuckle fight, and they've been banished from the UK. They're frowned upon because of the lifestyle, and they move a lot. But, you know, his grandfather, great-grandfather was a bare knuckle fighter, and he, you know, is a rites of passage, a gypsy lifestyle, so he could take him on the jaw. And I don't think people know how good he was. And I know how good Billy Joe Saunders was. You know, I follow him. Sometimes I occasionally study fighters and see where they're from. He's a good fighter. He's slick as, you know, baby oil. You know, and when he wants to, he can punch. And punch with authority. He understands how to maneuver around the ring. And, you know, he's a real good fighter. And like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if he beat Gennady Golovkin. I said it a long time ago. If he's, you know, mentally right and he's in a good place. Ortiz like to dish out the dirt, illegally moves, but didn't like to take it. True, yeah. Ortiz was giving Mayweather a little battle. He really was. He had the right style for it and athletic ability. He just mentally was weak. And Floyd knew he was weak. And Floyd looked like shit in that fight. He looked all fat in the stomach. It's like he didn't even train. But Ortiz was giving him a run for his money. If Ortiz was mentally stable, it'd be over with. Probably be a top guy. Remember we quit versus Madonna. Alexander's too stiff in my opinion. But yeah, Ortiz does have a suspect chin. Yeah, Alexander is stiff. That's a good point. Like there's no upper body movement with Devon Alexander. Everything is with the legs. But guess what? You know, he got a good jaw. He got enough power to KO Ortiz, and he got enough speed and quickness. And he got balance. You're right, he's stiff. What up, Greg? Hey, bro, if Eubanks wins the whole tournament, do you think him and Triple G will fight? Yeah, will fight if he gets by Canelo and Saunders. Yep, it's gonna happen. We talked about it already. They was trying to get what's the kid name? Triple G. Excuse me. I'll get the whole shot. They was trying to get Triple G to fight Eubanks Jr. or Callum Smith or Gross if they all run a tournament. Let's not sleep on Yerman Berman. He did beat Robert Brandt. He came down from light heavyweight, so I ain't gonna sleep on that. But if one of the UK guys win, yeah, I think it's a good thing, especially if Eubanks Jr. win the fight. It's a good thing that they held off on Triple G and Eubanks Jr. Now they can make the fight. Golovkin could become a two-weight champion, if he gets by Billy Joe Saunders, which isn't a promise, and if they can even make the fight with Billy Joe Saunders, you know, if they can get that fight done, which I think they can, and if you get past Billy Joe Saunders, if you get past Canelo, that's a good question. You know, it's not even that I think he gonna lose to Canelo, or if he gonna win, but I just don't think he gonna get a fair shake. You know, especially if it's at Las Vegas and they keep holding. You know, they don't know the venue yet, man. So yeah, I think it can happen. I think if he loses, he can fight Chris Eubanks Jr. You know, in my opinion, Billy Joe Saunders has never been down as an amateur or a pro. His chin is very underrated. Saunders ate in the lead right hook, flush, and came forward. Don't think Canelo has the power to KO Saunders. No. Even look, I'm gonna put it this way. Let me see who this is. I do that. BPM. I definitely agree with you on that. Canelo can't box with Billy Joe Saunders. So if Canelo can't box, he don't have the power to KO a lot of middleweights. His KO power is going to be predicated on hitting people with shots they don't see and being slick and counterpunching, because that's what Canelo is good at. It's going to be about the finesse at middleweight. He can't hang with Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders is too big, too fast, too quick, too agile, and too good of a boxer and to have too good of an understanding. That's why Golden Boy, Eric Gomez, said they're not interested in fighting Billy Joe Saunders. Said we paid our dudes fighting runners like Lara. So they're not interested in Billy Joe Saunders, and that's a bad matchup. I said that from the beginning. Devon has beaten Madonna and is only 31. When I worry he may have been too active recently. Hey, Butterbean, what up? He from the UK. I got his message earlier. Yeah, man. The thing about it is, he was inactive, and we know that Devon Alexander had the issues with opiates, tramadol. I know about that because my grandma, before she passed, used to take them. But yeah, he had an issue with opiates, and didn't tell Kevin Cunningham. He had suffered a blood clot or a broken nose versus Madonna and got hooked on him. And then down there it was downhill. So he been inactive, but I seen him spar Amir Khan. And when he sparred Amir Khan, Kevin Cunningham deemed he was ready to come back. And he put it on Amir Khan. He folded Amir Khan up like an origami. He looked good. He looked good versus Walter Castillo. If he looked good versus Victor Ortiz, he could potentially get Keith Thurman or Earl Smith's fight. So, he already held the IBF, so the IBF probably won't have no problem ranking him. And the IBF rankings is terrible. I have never seen no rankings worse than the IBF ranking and the WBO 154-pound ranking. Both of them is terrible. A whole bunch of guys I never heard of. Saunders, School, Canelo, for sure. I've been said that. Yeah, like Billy Joe, way underrated. A lot of people don't know about Billy Joe Saunders. They just seen him in that one fight, December 16th, when he was like fat and out of shape. He was going through it and got with Dominic Ingle. But yeah, I think Devin gonna beat him late. David Benavidez versus Ronald the Thrill Garville. That was an excellent fight last time out. Ronald definitely surprised me. I still got one loss in his career. It was by decision. I was looking. I don't think I broke down tape, but, I was happy for Benavidez. I dub Benavidez as the future of boxing. At 20 years old, he turned pro in Mexico at 16. He is the younger brother of Jose Benavidez, who recently got into it with Terrence Crawford and is a welterweight. But David can fight, Only problem I got with David Benavidez is that he hasn't won 12, which he went 12 around the last time. And he struggled to go 12, but honestly, he's only 20 years old. And, he needed that work. And his jab needs to improve, and defensively and moving on the back foot could improve. But he the real deal. Abel Sanchez and Golovkin swears by him. They say he's one of the better sparring partners, and say that Abel said, hey, that dude the real deal, And he's the real deal. He got good combination punching. He's long. He like 6'2.5". He got improved jab, but he got good uppercut, good hook, good right hand to the body. He's an excellent body puncher. Dude is legit. He's legit. He's legit. And Ronald is a good fighter as well. The thing that took, that drove Ronald in the first fight, and almost, I thought he won by 1 point because of the knockdown, but it was a close fight. The reason Ronald was able to survive that fight versus David Benavidez threw the kitchen sink at Ronald. But Ronald had composure. He was an experienced amateur. He got good sparring at the Mayweather gym. He knew what he wanted to do. He let Benavidez, throw the kitchen sink. He knew Benavidez said that he wanted to KO him. There's no other way that fight can win. In the meantime, while he was being composed and walking them down and trying to do things, he was putting water in the basement. He was hitting the body. And he hit the body enough, like Eddie Mustafa called it. Al Bernstein didn't agree with Eddie Mustafa, but he was like he getting tired, and Benavidez got tired and barely made it to the, barely made it, caught a second win, did enough to win. But this is definitely might be the fight of the Premier Boxing Champions card, in my opinion. This might be the fight. It's gonna be another great fight. It's gonna be a fight of the year candidate. Ronald scored a late knockdown in another fight, but he still came up short. But Benavidez is a hell of a fighter, and potentially if he continues to win, he's gonna have a date with Gilberto Ramirez if PBC and Al Heyman can make that fight happen. They sparred, and he been through the ring. He sparred the best. He sparred Golovkin, he sparred Ramirez, and he sparred a lot of different people, man. And he can fight. He definitely can fight. Ronald definitely can fight, and we're gonna see. I think Benavidez, being a younger guy, he's probably the young dog that can learn some more tricks and learn from it. He's still coming in with a knockout mentality in this fight, and it's gonna be a good fight. And do you think Sorg eventually a factor or just had Chocolito's number? That's a good question. I haven't really studied Estrada, so I don't know. The Estrada fight would tell you if he just had Chocolito number, which is a good question. If he had Chocolito number, I would guess he was strong. You could tell by his base. I was at the first fight. His base was just physically was massive. Like Pacquiao's base. He had that strong base. And that's where the power is generated from the floor up. So, yeah, the Estrada fight going to answer your question. I think Benavidez stops Garcia in the rematch. Yeah, I got Benavidez stopping him about the 10th or 11th round or something like that. Benavidez rematch will be great. Yeah, it's going to be excellent TV, man. Benavidez is a good fighter. He's only 20 years old. He turned pro at 16 in Mexico. He's an excellent fighter. I mean, he's right there with he's above Haney, but he's the next, generation of boxer with Haney, Shakur Stevenson. Richard Hitchens is another guy to look out for. Lil B-Hop Christopher Colbert is another guy to look out for. Michael Collin, I've been seeing the pleasure of seeing him fight live in New York City. There's a lot of young guys that's ready to take that torch and go to the next level. And Benavidez is the leader of that because he's a little older. He turned pro a lot sooner than those guys. Shakur Stevenson is fighting this weekend too. Oh, I didn't know he was fighting this weekend. I read an article. I didn't know it was this weekend. So Shakur is a good fighter. He's still learning on the job. He's trying to be more of a technical guy. You can tell by his game. He's trying to be patient. He's trying to be like Andre Ward. He's not just letting his athletic ability go. He's being very, very patient. Benavidez needs to drop his belt after this first defense. He's only 21, and he needs to work on a few things. I seen him ruling 175. He needs to avoid Chris Eubanks Jr. work rate. I think I don't know, man. I don't know. He could beat Eubanks Jr. in my opinion. I don't know. He got some size. He got some power. I can see Eubanks Jr. dog walk him as well. But he's 20 years old, and they feel comfortable with him having a belt. I definitely think he needs to take a step back. I think Gilberto Ramirez was the first Mexican 168-pounder. I think Benavidez became the youngest 168-pounder super middleweight ever. But yeah, he needs to take his time. But the WBC rankings ain't that tough, so Al can buy him some time. He needs to be fighting 3 or 4 times a year for sure, though, in my opinion. But yeah, he got a lot of things to work on. The jab and defense and going and fighting on the back foot is one. But a lot of people like him in the boxing community. Say he's gonna be the next great thing, but he might be too young. Might be some Erickson Lubin shit right there. I think Arville is gonna bust up Benavidez and stop him. He could, but I think Benavidez. I think he learned more in that fight, in my opinion. I think he's gonna be the dude that's gonna have a little bit more juice and a little bit more tricks coming. I think so. I don't know, man. I like Ronald, but I think Benavidez just. I don't know. I think he just got more to work with than Ronald in the rematch, but it'll be a good fight. Eddie Mustafa is a good trainer. They have a good game plan for Benavidez. Benavidez looks like a big super middleweight. It says in Boxing Magazine he was at 250 pounds. Golly. Man, he was 250 pounds. Man. What was he fighting, a heavyweight when he turned? Maybe he turned pro if he dropped that weight at 16. So I don't know, man. He's definitely a good fighter. He do look big. It's funny. He's so much taller than his brother. What is Jose, like 5'10" or some shit like that, or 5'9", and David is like 6'2" and a half, and he probably still growing too, man. At only 20 years old. You don't stop growing till about 22, 21, something like that. So he still could be growing, in my opinion. One last fight. Danny Garcia taking on Brandon Rios. A lot of people hoping that Brandon Rios can pull an upset, but I don't see it. Rios is pedestrian at 147 at best. We know him at 135. he made a splash on HBO by beating Anthony Peterson by disqualification. Because Anthony Peterson, younger brother Lamont Peterson, kept hitting him with low blows, and then he took off. Remember Richard Abreu boxing his ears off. Rios always enjoyed a nice a physical advantage and rehydrating at 35. 140, he was still pretty good. At 47, he has done nothing at 47. He's trying to get in shape. He's looking, slim and trim, but it won't help him versus Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is re-energized, reinvigorated, and Brandon Rios has made the order. And I look for Danny Garcia to score a highlight, real knockout, 7th or 8th round. Especially if Danny Garcia is able to put, water in the basement and hit him to the body and then counter him with a no-look left hook. So that's my piece on that, but that'd be a good fight. I understand people saying Pacquiao versus Lomachenko is a cherry pick because Lomachenko's moving up 2 weight classes to fight Pacquiao, but in a way, it's not a cherry pick because Loma would be favored. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a cherry pick. I mean, how can you cherry pick the number 4 or 5 best or number 1 in some people's opinion, pound for pound fighter in the world? Somebody asked me that. People say it's a cherry pick for Pacquiao. Y'all can ask any question y'all want. I think Garcia gonna stop him, man. Any questions y'all want, man? Stay on about 30 more minutes. So if y'all any questions y'all want, shoot them right now. But I don't think from that standpoint you're right. Think about it. How can you cherry pick a top 5 pound for pound fighter? You can't. Obviously people say he's cherry picking because he don't want to fight Terrence Crawford because Terrence Crawford moved, and Freddie Roach fighters can't understand how to cut off the ring and fight a boxer counter puncher, in my opinion. And that's my thing on it. Providing the cough crowd about people moving. Pacquiao couldn't cut the ring off on Floyd. I mean, you go on and on. Freddie Roach fighters fundamentally lack defensive qualities, in my opinion. Boxing circles around the world was good. Off subject, Young J-Rock, best trap album. Young Jock. Oh, Young Jock. Oh, yeah, New Jock City. That was a great album. And you know what's funny about that? I did a video about who got the best trap rapper was. But Young Jock had one of the best trap albums of all time. Now you look at them, people laugh, and people call me crazy, but New Jock City, go download it if you got Apple Music. They got Apple Music on Android as well, because I got it. From track 1 to the end track, you can play it all the way through. Definitely a great album. Eubanks Jr., Eubanks is the WBC mandatory. Eubanks and Uterman was a fight for the Eliminator. Suleiman was at the fight and gave him the WBC Eliminator medal if he wins the WBC Diamond. Smith and he'll be the mandatory, but I think as she says, the championship fight for the super middleweight is in June. We're about Super Series tournament. Okay, you'd have made like $5 million just for that fight or some shit like that. Eubanks Jr. might cave it in till next year. Let's say he don't come back till next year, hypothetically. Triple G fight Canelo in May. They trying to squeeze in 2 more fights for Triple G. Okay, he fights Saunders September or some shit like that. Hypothetically, January, February next year, Eubanks and Groves can do it. Eubanks and Triple G can do it. And I think that's what they're targeting. That's a big money fight for Triple G, and I think Triple G might ride off into sunset after that. So that's a good question. I didn't know that, but that's a good thing. Shout out BPM. That's shout out. Lakers for life, oh yeah. I'm a Lakers and the Pistons fans because of Magic Johnson, but obviously I'm from Detroit. I love the Lakers. I want Eubanks versus Jacobs. That's funny because Eubanks ducked Jacobs for the regular WBA title shot. So he did duck. We got any questions about the fights or anything else going on in the boxing world? Here's the Adrian Broner update as well. Adrian Broner is saying that he didn't grab the woman by the pussy. The woman wanted the picture. He didn't want to give a picture. Okay, but forgot the dude's page. Now he sent me the link to his page, and the friend spoke up about it, and she said that he was drunk and just horsing around, and he was drunk. So when you drunk, maybe you don't remember what he did, but he helped his case by not running and fleeing them on. So they didn't even know who he was. So he trying to flex his celebrity, and it don't have Canelo Triple G prediction. I'm not trusting the judges. Yeah, I'm not trusting the judges. If I'm Triple G, if I get knocked out, I get knocked out. But I'm going for the knockout. But if it's in New York, yeah, you can trust the judges. They gonna give it to Triple G. Progress and Dongo. I haven't broke down the tape on that. I was watching some tape on Progress this morning when I woke up before I took my puppy for a piss or shit, whatever he did. He downstairs, but Progress, somebody said yesterday he got good head movement. His head movement looked orchestrated. I mean, I was watching the Joel Diaz fight again. He had a lot of jabs in that fight, but he a good fighter. You know, obviously he green, he young, he got a lot to learn. And Dongos didn't have the amateur pedigree Progress has, so maybe he'll level it out. I look forward to breaking down that tape. That fight is March 3rd in South Dakota, 50 miles away from Mount Rushmore. What the fuck was Lou DiBella thinking? South Dakota. Is Larry Hazard back in charge of New York Boxing Commission? I don't know about that. I don't know, but, you know, that's Triple G home. You know, obviously Crawford and Horn supposed to happen in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. The Golden Knights of Vegas made the playoffs as the #1 seed, so they moved it to New York City. Now Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn has moved to Las Vegas again. They're going to fight at the Mandalay Bay. That's Pacquiao's place of fighting in Las Vegas, because a lot of fighters didn't like fighting at the MGM Grand because Floyd Poster was there. It was a house that Floyd built. And Pacquiao, when Floyd and Pacquiao fought, Pacquiao did his grand arrival at the Mandalay Bay. Floyd did the MGM. The T-Mobile Arena is partly owned by the MGM Grand, but that's the #1 venue people want to fight at. But they're taking it to the Mandalay Bay, so Pacquiao will be featuring on the Crawford and Horn card. So we'll see. But yeah, New York, you know, we'll see, man. New York was funny. New York is pretty, I don't know, pretty solid, I would guess. You know, Vegas is corrupt, man. A lot of people say that. How do you see Floyd versus Mosley at 35? Be a good fight. Mosley was a hell of a puncher. He had a lot of speed, a lot of power, but he always fought with a rhythm. You know, and Floyd was a different Floyd back then. Floyd was a guy that was more offensive. I would wonder if he fought Mosley, would he have turned more defensive, because Mosley was jittery, and they knew Mosley could be countered and could be countered a lot. You know, if he was more offensive, that would be a 50-50 fight. Shane could catch him, but if he fought defensive, which is Floyd was a smart fighter, he probably could have picked off Mosley at a young age, and I think that would have took his legend to another level. But obviously Mosley chose to go up to first face Oscar De La Hoya for a bigger payday, rightfully so. And he was going to fight Andre Berto, but that fell apart, and Floyd ended up fighting in Floyd lap, which is better. He didn't fight Andre Berto because of the earthquake in Haiti, and Andre Berto went to go help his people. That's a good fight in my opinion. That could have went either way. You heard of Jaron Ennis, fighter from Philly. Kid is a problem. They moving him very slow. And I haven't heard of him. I have to go check him out. I heard of Montana Love because he be doing all them dances. Philly boxing ain't been the same, man. I'm sorry, man. Philly, this new generation of Philly fighters, man, they ain't been the same, man. I don't know, man. You know, J-Rock, I mean, Danny, maybe because Danny's setting the standards by being a little hoe right now, but boxing ain't the same, period. The South is really taking over boxing. You know, Philly, Detroit, New York. New York is stepping up. They got a lot of young prospects coming. Little B-Hop Colbert. Look out for Richard Hitchens. He's with Mayweather Promotions. He's a real good fighter at 140. Who do you see losing first? Crawford, Spence, Thurman. Whoever fight each other first. Obviously, Bud got a tough fight for Jeff Horn. I did a video. A lot of people in the Lions Den boxing community, like Black Fight fan, believe that he gonna beat Jeff Horn. But you gotta look at the blueprint of that fight. It's something Terrence Crawford hadn't fought before. You know, when he fight guys that kind of aggressive and got some sides, he tend to move and box more. Jeff Horn ain't that easy to hit, you know, because he goes like that. He fights at an awkward angle. He'd come up with his head. So Crawford gonna face some adversity, but he gonna beat the hell out of Jeff Horn. But it won't be easy, you know, or at least as easy as it looks. But I don't know. Keith Thurman probably will lose first. Keith Thurman might lose before he fight Errol Spence, to be honest. So I go with Keith Thurman. Chicago was a big fight city back in the day. Never seen much there anymore. Hey, my boy was just actually talking about that, saying why the Progress and then the Postal fight at the time didn't get moved to Chicago. You know, they don't do that many fights in Chicago no more, or Detroit, you know what I'm saying? And Detroit has casinos, and the casino can all just ante up and just get a fight arena. But you can fight at Ford Field, Comerica Park. There's a lot of venues you can fight in Detroit. I don't know why. You know, and maybe Detroit ain't just a fight. You know, Tony Harrison had a lot of stock. He got beat by Jared Hurd. They had a lot of stock in Tony Harrison, but ain't no big fighters in Chicago or Detroit no more, man. I mean, and you know, Granados, and then Ed, his boy Ed got killed. He was a good prospect. Just I don't know. They trying to force the Brooklyn Barclays Center. Nuyuwa moved up to bantamweight, and so I just did a video on that. Yup, on the Nuyuwa fighting Jamie McDowell. I seen McDowell fight before, man, a few times versus the Asian guy. I think he was out there on one of the Gale, one of them cards as well. He's a good fighter, man. Good long, tall guy for bantamweight. I think like 5'10". So no. Oh yeah, but I think Sorg will move up. I think Sorg will move up and eventually fights Nuyuwa. Because if Nuyuwa beats Jamie McDowell, however you say his name, he'd be the regular WBA champion. He'd be the mandatory to Ryan Burnett. Ryan Burnett is also a matchroom fighter, and he holds 2 title belts. I think the WBA and the IBF. Don't quote me on that. And then, you know, Nuyuwa can fight him if Eddie Hearn wants to match his fighter up with him, or wait till he become a mandatory and go to purse bid. But Nuyuwa is going to get 2 titles up there real soon. Word, black males are softer because of Section 8 and food stamp poverty makes great fighters, and we're not hungry. And you can say that too. You probably could say that, but I say the fact that football. I think football, you know, American football took a lot of the fighters away. That's what Emmanuel Stewart said. And also, also is being options. You know, you can go play basketball, football. You know, guys playing baseball, guys just wrestling, guys are trying to do mixed martial arts. You know, boxing isn't a top sport in America no more. And what people don't understand about why Deontay Wilder, why it's so hard to become a boxing star in America, is because it's too much to compete with. Not only is you competing with, in the UK, you're competing with soccer and it's football. You know, soccer and football. I mean, soccer and boxing, those are the 2 main sports in the UK. But in America, not only is you dealing with, you know, basketball, you're dealing with amateur basketball, high school basketball is huge, college basketball, college football, high school football, the NFL, Major League Baseball. I mean, even hockey has taken a huge backseat to that. And it's too much going on. You got acting, you got, you got so many distractions in America, and it's hard to get boxing back on that pedestal where it needs to be. And it needs to be on free TV, because boxing is the only sport that puts its best product on pay-per-view or premium television like HBO Showtime, while you're getting a Super Bowl and football every day, every Sunday, every Monday, Thursday. You're getting basketball for free Tuesday. I mean, boxing needs to become more accessible like it is. Like if you go to the fight, you can meet a fighter, it needs to become more accessible on the television, in my opinion. I got Herb stopping Lara. A lot of people praying that Herb beats Lara. Obviously, a lot of people are hungry to see Lara versus Jermell Charlo, because the winner of that will be facing Jermell Charlo. And if you didn't know, Jermell Charlo and Erislandy Lara used to train together. Lara helped groom the Charlo twins with Ronnie Shields. He even went so far as saying they used to say who got hit less versus him in sparring. I hope Lara wins, but I don't know if Lara does. I mean, I hope Herb wins. I like Herb. I'm a big Herb fan. But if Lara wins, a good Jermell Charlo Erislandy Lara fight, that'll be an excellent fight for boxing fans, in my opinion. I think football, basketball took the heavyweights, but what about smaller weight classes? In my opinion, it ain't never been a lot of good black smaller weight classes, you know, especially below lightweight. You don't get a lot of black guys at 30 and 26, and especially flyweight. They ain't have a lot of black guys down there, but you're right. You know, welterweight division, maybe a lot of guys ain't, you know, fit enough to make 147. Maybe they don't want to sacrifice. You know, we do have an obesity problem over in America, so maybe that's what it is. We have cricket over here, and we all sit around watching that for 5 days. Yeah, I got into cricket, man. I kind of like cricket, man. Sometimes I watch that shit on my Android box. That shit kind of hot. Charlo and Lara is a great fight. Yup, definitely a great fight. Great backstory. Lara been lacking on the competition. You know, if I got any more questions, I got Danny Garcia knocking out Rios in the middle rounds. You know, then I don't know, what's the 17th? I think next week, I don't know what's next week. What fights next week? I'll look at the calendar, man. I'll check my laptop up here. Ryan Burnett dropped the IBF. Oh, I didn't know that IBF. He's only WBA champion. It would be hard for Burnett it's hard to beat Burnett as he is big, has good outside game. He has head movement and solid amateur pedigree. Yeah, but if Nuyuwa is everything we think he is, that'd be a good fight. Burnett is a good fighter. I didn't know he dropped the IBF title. They still got him listed as the champion. Yeah, he is a good fighter. He's good competition for Nuyuwa. And the other guy, I can't pronounce his name, Tete or whatever that guy's name is. He's a good fighter as well. What do you think about Big Baby Miller versus Cause Naoki can with Naoki be a factor. Yeah, if the Polish guy get into some fucking shape, yeah. You know, the Polish guy don't be in no shape, man. You know, his last fight, man, it was sad. He looked sloppy as hell. Like, he didn't even train for the fight. So he got to get into some shape, man. You know, he looking like Andrew Ruiz out here. He got to get into some shape. But, yeah, he going to be a factor because, I mean, ain't nobody that good at the heavyweight division. Ortiz might be the most skilled heavyweight, but at the heavyweight, you got to be more than skilled. You know, you got to be able to punch. You know, some guys are tall. You got to be able to fight on the inside. Some guys, you know, are, unorthodox like Wilder. I mean, some guys are just massive like Joshua. I mean, it's much more than skill at the heavyweight division. But yeah, he can. But that'd be a good fight. You know, I don't know who I pick between the Polish guy and Big Baby Miller. Big Baby Miller coming down the way. I'm anxious to see what he come in at. He fighting the Johan Dunlap guy that Deontay Wilder went 11 when almost stopped him. The heavyweight division started to decline with Mike Tyson and Lewis. Yup, you ain't lying. The last great heavyweight fight we had before, if you consider Klitschko and Joshua a great heavyweight fight, was Lennox Lewis and Vitaly Klitschko. If you haven't seen that fight, go back and watch that fight. That was a good fight. Lennox and Vitaly. Lennox kept rubbing his dress and Vitaly face to open up his cut, and he ended up getting a stoppage. But Vitaly gave Klitschko all he wanted. But the thing that it did, Vitaly gave Lennox all he wanted. But the thing about that fight, Lennox retired at that fight, but Lennox got a lot of respect after that fight because he took a lot of bombs in that fight. They best friends, but so I think Big Baby is going to fight him. I didn't know these best friends. Let me see that fight, then. I need to see that. Fight friends that fight make the best fights. Big Baby, Cheeseburger Baby, love that guy. Big Baby reminds me of Tua. Yeah, Tua was punching harder than Big Baby in my opinion. I don't know what the schedule look like next week for boxing, but I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, it's a super flyweight card. Headed by Karada. Estrada and Sorg. That's gonna be a good fight. You know, K2. They doing their thing. They're doing super flyweight too. That'd be a good fight in my opinion. You know, I can't wait for that card as well. And then the week after that is gonna be Big Baby. It's gonna be Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Mom Wilder, and Luis Ortiz. Jamal Charlo taking on Hugo Centennial Jr. and Ukazi taking on Darrell in a rematch. And hopefully my tax check come in by then because they bullshitting, man. Miller said he putting the weight back on and we'll wait too. Why? Why is he putting the weight back on? That dude's an idiot. He used to be a kickboxer, man. You know, he got popped for performance and had some drugs as a kickboxer. A lot of people don't know that. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, hey, Vitaly had the chin, man. Vitaly was the tough Klitschko brother, man. Vitaly was real tough. You know, Vladimir had the better punching power, but Vitaly had the better chin, was tougher. He did get stopped once because of the shoulder injury. But ain't nobody... Vitaly, if he would have had better opponents, if Vitaly would have had a better, heavyweight crop, he would have been, he probably would have been top 10 heavyweight down there. No man test Lennox. Yeah, if you got any more questions, I'm here for about 11, 12 more minutes. But yeah, man, the first quarter hot in boxing. Usually you begin the year off, it sucks in boxing. We got some good fights. Next week the super flyweight card. After that, that's a triple header with Ortiz and Wilder. After that, it's gonna be Mikey and Sergey Lipinets. And I think Lipinets gonna surprise some of y'all versus Mikey Garcia. Don't be surprised if Lipinets put Mikey Garcia on his hindsight, in my opinion. Lipinets can fight. He can punch. He's a novice as far as professional fighting. He only got 12 or 11 professional fights, but he can fight in my opinion. Vladimir wasn't born. Vitaly would have a hell of a legacy. Yeah, you ain't lying. He probably would have keep cleaning up, but Vitaly was always whooping on the guys that beat Vladimir ass. And Vladimir did beat, was it Chris Bird? I think Vladimir did beat Chris Bird for Vitaly. I think that's who Vitaly got retired against is Chris Bird because of the shoulder injury. So Vladimir did. You got to put some respect on Vladimir's name. But Vladimir, they said, just hit so fucking hard. He hit hard. But he hit real hard. Yeah, Lipinets can fight, man. People disrespected Lipinets. Corey Sanders put him on. That was epic. Him knocking out Vladimir Klitschko. The Klitschko brothers used to be kickboxers as well and mixed martial arts. That's something a lot of people don't know. But But yeah, Lipinets, yeah, a lot of people sleeping on Lipinets, man. Kondo obviously came in, and he was, it's never easy for a world title fight. Now, I don't know if people disrespecting Lipinets. I'll be seeing Big Baby on his Instagram live lifting weights. He said he didn't feel strong his last fight. Well, you're gonna be a fucking idiot. Why would you want to walk around at even though he looked good at 290? I don't know, man. I mean, go with what you feel, Big Baby. Go with what you feel. I don't think you're gonna be shit as a heavyweight, no way, as far as being a champion, unless several heavyweights fell off the face of the earth. I don't see it. He ain't that good to me. I think in either 2019-20, Canelo Spence will, or it should happen. Spence already said he will fight Canelo. I don't know. Canelo, that'd be a good fight for Canelo. I know they were trying to dismiss Spence fight, but I don't think Canelo wants to mix it up with Charlo and even Andrade by himself, scared to fight, or Danny Jacobs. He don't want to fight those guys. Billy Joe. He don't want to fight those guys. So, yeah, I mean, why not fight Earl Spence? Earl Spence is something he hasn't faced. Is a guy that's always in your face and working you and making you work and never letting you rest. So, it'll be a good fight. I mean, Canelo and Spence, I mean, you can sell tickets, especially if they're doing it in Texas. Spence fighting out of Dallas, Texas. It's close to the Mexican border. It's a fight that can be made. Spence to take the money, make the fight happen, And you're probably right. Miller said he didn't feel strong. Canelo did not see having a career pass. Don't see having. He already has 50+ fight for a young man and some. Yeah, I mean he turned pro at a young age though, at 16. So a lot of guys got wear and tear on their body. I mean, all the amateur fights. Some people got 200, 300, 100 amateur fights. So all those blows, all the sparring sessions. Yeah, I mean, he still look young. He still got a nice little, clean face and not that much scar tissue. I mean, if I was him, I probably would retire. You made a lot of money. I mean, 2020, I mean, why not retire? What else you got to prove? You can't make 168 and be effective. I mean, what else does Canelo have to prove? He beats Triple G. He get the belts. What else do you have to prove, in my opinion? Who you see Canelo beating out of Andrade Saunders? None of them. Maybe Andrade, because he inactive, but I don't see him beating Jacobs. I don't see him beating, he could beat Jacobs. I don't see him beating Saunders. I don't know. Maybe Andrade or Jacobs. But I don't know. Maybe Andrade, he beat him. I think he'll, 3 beat him. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Andrade ain't the most toughest dude out there, man. He a little soft to me, man. And Canelo ain't soft. He got some edge to him, so he possibly can beat Andrade. But it'll be a good fight. It's a fight that I'll be willing to see. As well. Canelo's a good talent, but he was designed to be a welterweight. Now he's a middleweight, and they bought their time with him. I wouldn't be mad if he retired, in 2020. What else do we got to prove? He ain't gonna do nothing but fight to him. He'll go on to fight tough fights, Jacobs could be a super middleweight. Saunders could be a super middleweight. Jamal Charlo could be a super middleweight. He's a big guy. I mean, it's a lot of big middleweights. He ain't gonna enjoy no size advantage no more. Just not gonna happen. So why not fight Spence and just, call it a day? But any more questions? Any more boxing questions? So we have Eubanks Jr. by late knockout. We got Plant by late knockout. We got Alexander by mid knockout. We got Benavidez by late knockout. And Danny Garcia by mid knockout. But don't forget, if you don't want to hear Al Bernstein, if you can't watch the fight, or you don't have Showtime, or whatever it may be, come here for the Premier Boxing Champions Fox preliminary card. I will be doing live scoring, live commentary. We had a good time on the Spence and Peterson card. Come here. I think it starts, whatever the Fox card starting your time. Starts with Porky Medina, Caleb Plant, Devon, Alexander, Victor Ortiz, Benavidez, Garville, Rios, Garcia. We're going to stay on the entire time. Live scoring, live commentary. We had a good time doing Spence and Peterson. So y'all come on and answer these last questions. Don't forget that. And also don't forget the Castbox, podcast. I'll put the link in the description when it loads. Let me see. I'm going on these. What time is Groves and Eubanks? About 4 or 5 p.m. You can just Google that. But I think about 4 or 5 p.m. usually the UK cards come on Eastern Standard Time. If Troy's versus DeGale rematch happening, my last question, no news from. I heard it was. I heard DeGale elected to take the rematch. He gonna exercise his rematch clause, so it may be happening stateside. I don't know, but it should be happening. DeGale exercises rematch. Same thing. I said Andrade Simp soft look tentative with Alantez Fox. Yeah, he said he hurt himself in the Alantez Fox fight, so and take his for his word or not. It's weird how Andrade and Saunders both were welterweights in the 2008 Olympics. Saunders was 18, Andrade was 20. Both skills. Southpaw. Andrade said he didn't want Saunders, but Lemieux coming up. Yeah, you said he wasn't ready for Billy Joe Saunders. I seen that interview. Say he wasn't ready. So yeah, it is what it is. Yep. Demetrius Andrade is a punk, man. I just think he would be whoop everybody. Like I said before, he should be what Terrence Crawford is right now. You know, he really should. He should be with Terrence Crawford. He should be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. He spent so much time on ESPN Friday Night Fights. He stepped up, got a belt, lost the belt, and just went into the the shitter. Who do you like between Lara Hurd? I don't know. I haven't broke down film. I favor Lara, but I'm pulling for Hurd. Andrade's a waste of talent. Yep. Yeah, I like Lara. I like Lara to box him. It's gonna be like some Angulo type stuff. We're gonna see how much juice them old legs got for Erislandy Lara left. What up, Matt Valentine? Out of Jersey, Alexander will get smoked by Spence. Andrade is finished. Yeah, Devon feeling pretty confident. You know, he is. He feeling himself, and rightfully so, because he beat the dog walking crap out of Amir Ahman in sparring. And when I say he beat Amir Ahman was just folding up. His head was damn near at his knees. And that's how I knew he was back when I seen that sparring video. But yeah, Alexander is too small for Spence. And Devon isn't slick enough to bother Earl Spence. You know, Keith Thurman is slick enough to bother Earl Spence and move enough. Obviously, Bud is as well. We can end up on that. Let me end off with a bang. Terrence Crawford. Let's talk about Terrence Crawford versus Keith Thurman. We do some OT. Look at Terrence Crawford versus Keith Thurman. The one reason I side with Terrence Crawford, if you watch the Leonard Bundini Bundu fight, Amir versus was sparring. Yeah, Amir, Ahman, and Devon Alexander. It was on Fight Hype. It's probably on the internet, YouTube now. Yeah, it was intense. It was intense down in West Palm Beach, Florida. But Terrence is able to switch hit. And when Leonard Bundu switch hit, Keith Thurman was so scared. And Leonard Bundu was a guy that doesn't even bring a lot of power out of Italy, you know. He didn't bring any power, and Keith Thurman just melted in. I think at that point, Keith Thurman was no longer one time or KO's for life Keith Thurman, you know. A guy that was small and was not known as a puncher, didn't have that many knockouts, was making you scared to punch and go for the kill because he switched hit. And you heard him respond like, and Earl Smith went in there and handled his business. So Crawford seen that tape, and I'm pretty sure Bo Mack, Crawford, and the other two trainers he got seen the tape. And Crawford is going to switch it on Keith Thurman, you know. He is. And he's going to have to come to Keith Thurman and cut the ring off and test Keith Thurman's chin. That's a good fight. I just think if Leonard Bundu was able to switch it and bother Keith Thurman, so will Terrence Crawford. You know, but if you look at Keith Thurman and Earl Spence, a lot of people say, oh, Thurman don't move his head or this and that. Thurman uses his legs to put himself in position and maneuver around shots. And if Keith Thurman doesn't be aggressive with Earl Spence, I don't think he had too much of a chance. Especially the way how sharp and how good Earl Spence's jab was. But I think, you know, I think Keith Thurman gonna go for broke. He's gonna throw a lot of combinations and try to bother Earl Spence. I think he's gonna fight tentative. I think he's gonna fight safety first. He's gonna try to box Earl Spence. You know, he's gonna try to, buy as much time, but Earl Spence eventually gonna cut the ring down in quarters, cut him down, and try to hit his body. I hope Keith Thurman is physically getting stronger. His whole body, because he's going to have to fight on the inside. We haven't seen Keith Thurman fight on the inside. And if it was that close between him and Sean Porter of a fight, Earl Spence is a bigger puncher than Sean, I think. You know, not only, people talk a lot about the body shot that Colosso hit him with. I think that was just a sweet shot. I think it was a perfect shot. I think Keith Thurman, Earl Spence is going to beat his body and eventually stop him. You know, if Keith Thurman don't get aggressive. He had to come downhill. He can't move on Earl Spence. And I think he knows he can't move versus Earl Spence for 12 rounds. But we talking about Bud and Earl. I think both guys are good fighters. It's just we're gonna see what Bud brings to the ring versus Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn is physically strong. He's dirty, and if he's able to push Terrence Crawford around some, it'd be interesting to see how Terrence does. Most people think Terrence is gonna just finesse him and finesse Earl Spence, but it's not that easy. Terrence Crawford get hit sometimes as well, and plus he goes tit for tat. If you hit Terrence Crawford, it's like something in his body. Like when dogs see dog food, they just don't care what you say. They don't listen. They want to go for the food. Same thing with Crawford. You hit Crawford, he wants to hit you, and he get reckless, and he leave himself open. And things he got away with at the other weight classes, he won't get away with Earl Spence. He gonna have to fight more of a perfect fight than Earl Spence will. Earl Spence got more room for error because of his size. And we never seen nobody go to the body on Crawford a lot. We never seen nobody just wear him down and just come forward, cut the ring off, and beat him down. So that's a fight I can't call right now. I'm going to answer the rest of these questions and hop off. And Miramon need to change his nickname to Not Young Master. Yeah. Well, he probably Jose Ramirez March 17th. And Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor spoke highly of him, said he's a good fighter. You see him at the Olympics. Thurman cannot do what he did against DSG. Spence wins. And the reason he can't do what he did versus DSG because DSG can't cut the ring off. Danny Garcia, that's a problem. You know, that's a problem with Herrera and Peterson. He couldn't cut the ring off. Crawford will be able to take a hard shot from Thurman. Let's wait and see how Crawford looks versus Horn. Yeah, but I think if Thurman was scared to punch versus Bundu, I think Crawford gonna switch hit so much he might just switch hit Thurman to death. But yeah, you're right. Yes, he does get hit, but not a lot. But it's notable. He got hit a lot. You know, before 3 fights ago, I say he got hit a lot. You know, he closed the gap on getting hit. He shored his defense up. I will give him that. He got better. Spence is the game dog. Yep, so is Crawford is a game dog. But y'all know what it is. Like I told you, remember Final Thoughts coming Friday. Blast from the Past. Quan, got your video coming Thursday. Saturday, we going live commentary, scoring no footage. So come here if y'all want to hear some good commentary and some good chats. It's the Boxing Clinic. I got a video request coming from Mr. DX Factor about Deontay Wilder coming at this video process. We gone, fellas.